Getting your game featured, the holy grail of indie game marketing. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can get press, some of the ways that you can find people to cover your game, and what to do once you actually find them. So let's get started with number one, etiquette. The press and blogs are awesome because they usually have a pretty big readership, and if you can get your game covered, you can get some free exposure. So firstly, the writers of the press are people too. I know it may not seem like that when you're getting to launch your game and you're terrified of these all-powerful beings that you think control the fate of your game, but trust me, they're just people. That said, treat them like people. Be personable, friendly, non-robotic. Depending on the scale of the press outlet or blog, this also very likely could be a business for them. Remember, they're in the industry of getting eyeballs. If your game can help them get more views and clicks, they will love you. So frame the things you want to say around what they want. Never be rude, never email them constantly or spam their blog comments. Just be open and honest and follow up if they don't reply. There's nothing wrong with it. Just don't overdo it. So number two, what are the best days and times to actually contact the press? Well, all the personal experience I've had around contacting press outlets specifically has been later in the week, early in the morning. Monday morning, they are slammed with emails and playing catch up with last week. During the end of the week though, things settle down and less emails come in. That's a great opportunity for you. So hitting them up on a Thursday or Friday in the morning is probably your best bet. But it varies greatly depending on the press outlet and the actual writer that you're emailing, so keep that in mind. So number three, we're going to talk about how to actually find them. So this is obvious advice here, but a simple Google search for indie game blogs or video game blogs will do wonders for you if you actually search that. You can also check out the list of indie game sites down below in the description. Actually getting a hold of press is usually pretty easy. No matter what site you're looking at, there's almost always a way to contact or a submission link somewhere on the page. You may have to scroll all the way to the bottom or hunt around a bit, but it's there. Games Press also has a lot of PR contacts when you create an account. I put a link to them in the description as well. Twitter is also a fantastic way to actually contact and reach out to press outlets. A lot of writers specifically have individual accounts specifically for that business, and they have their business email in the description of their Twitter account. If they don't have their email listed there, tweeting them and asking them if you can't find it on the site usually works wonders. Again, don't be rude or don't be a dick, but don't be afraid to actually reach out to them as well. They don't bite and they're usually nice guys. I also really want to stress the importance of the types of blogs that you reach out to. Your game has a genre and you want to reach out to blogs that cover your specific type of game. General sites are great, but the ones that are going to get you the most downloads are the ones that are specific to your genre or type of game. Also keep in mind that like specific sites, the actual writers of those sites have specific preferences to specific type of games as well. You should know those ahead of time so you can reach out to the right people. An awesome strategy that I use, I call the pyramid strategy. And that's basically the idea that you go after smaller bloggers first, and then when you have the volume of the smaller bloggers, you reach out to medium bloggers and use the smaller bloggers as proof that your game is getting coverage, and then do the same thing to the big blogs using the medium blogs as proof that you're getting coverage. This works pretty well because most of the time most press outlets want to stay on trend, and if they see a bunch of other people covering your game, they're more likely to do so. But getting the eyeballs of a bigger magazine is usually a lot harder than getting the smaller ones. So if you build on the smaller ones, then move to the medium, then move to the large, you can get a lot more exposure that way. It just takes a little time. So you got your strategy, you know how to find them. Now we need to talk about what to actually write in your email to them. So number four, let's start with the email subject line. Do not rush this part. The email subject line is the most important part of the email. If you spend a lot of time on your email, you want to spend 80% of the time on the subject line. Because if you don't have a good subject line, your email never even gets opened. You want to include what your game is or what it does very well. Something like Super Spaghetti, the meatball platformer, demo for you inside. With a headline like that, it's clearly unique and you're communicating what your game is and what you want. It's also very actionable. They know the demo's inside, and if they want to play the game, they know that this email is going to help them do that. Don't try any weird tactics. Don't write vague, weird questions. Get straight to the point and make sure you are very clear in your headline about what your game is, what it does, and what you want them to do with it. And keep it short. Don't overdo it. Okay, so number five, what should you put in the email body when you're contacting press? Well, the body you want to keep short too, just like the headline. Don't use long, lengthy paragraphs. Don't tell them your whole life story or how much of a struggle it was to get your game done. I know it was hard, but they don't care about any of that. You want to keep it short and to the point, 2 paragraphs max. Your first paragraph, you should introduce yourself, say something relevant that you like about them. Second paragraph, what the game is and why it's unique and where to download it. Make sure you attach some screenshots and include a link to your press kit if you can. Also make sure that if the launch date of your game is coming up soon, you include that there as well. That's it. Email body super short. And lastly, number 6, at the very end of the email, you want a call to action. At the very end of every email that you write, you should have a call to action telling them exactly what to do next. If you don't, they are very likely to just ignore your email completely. You need a link to your demo or to your game, but you also need a call to action to tell them specifically what to do, like click here to download the demo. I know it doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but many studies show that if you don't tell people what to do in a link, they won't do it. And I know from experience running thousands of marketing campaigns that email click-through rates suck if you don't have a call to action. So that's it for this video on indie game marketing press 101. There's obviously a ton more to this, but that's all we're going to cover today. If you have any questions, you can tweet me at Tim Ruswick, and I'd be happy to answer anything you have to ask.